Welcome students of class 8. I am Vasha ma'am, your science teacher, and today we will be continuing our video 3 of chapter 4, chemical effects of electric current. So in the previous video, the first topic we discussed was the ions. So ions are the atoms or group of atoms which carry charges. Ions are further classified into two types. The first is cation and the second is anion. So cation is an ion with a positive charge on it and anion is an ion with a negative charge on it. The next we discussed that when sodium chloride is dissolved in water, then it dissociates into Na positive ion and Cl negative ion. Na positive is a sodium ion which is a cation and Cl negative is a chloride ion which is an anion. As sodium chloride is a salt water, that is why it is able to conduct electricity. But in case of pure water, it is not able to conduct electricity as it cannot dissociate into ions. So the next we discussed electrolysis. So it is the arrangement of an electric circuit which includes a battery with positive and negative terminal, wires, two metal rods which are known as the electrodes, and a solution of blue color which is known as the electrolyte. So this arrangement is called as electrolytic cell, and the process of production of a chemical reaction by passing a current through this electrolyte is known as the electrolysis. So this electrode is known as the anode, which is connected to the positive terminal of the battery and it receives negatively charged anions. And this one is the cathode electrode, which is connected to the negative terminal of the battery and it receives the positively charged ions known as the cations. Then the next we discussed the characteristics which was observed during the electrolysis of sodium chloride solution. So the first characteristic was the evolution of hydrogen gas which is produced on the cathode and the chlorine gas which is produced on the anode. Then the second is the color of the electrolyte which changes due to green colored chlorine gas, and the third one is the deposition of a metal on the electrode. And the last we discussed the uses of electrolysis, like in metallurgy for production of metals, then for production of non-metals like chlorine and fluorine, in refining of metals, in submarines as oxygen is produced by the electrolysis of water is used for breathing, and the last in electroplating of metals. So in today's topic, we are going to start with a new topic which is known as the electrolytic refining. Electrolytic refining is also known as the electrorefining, which is used in metallurgy to obtain pure metal from impure metal. This method is used to purify the metals like copper, gold and silver. As you can see in the diagram that there are two metal rods which are the electrodes. This one is the anode and this one is the cathode. Also there is a battery with two terminals, that is the positive terminal and this one is the negative terminal. Here there is a solution of blue color which is a copper sulfate solution which acts as an electrolyte. So now let us discuss the working of this process. So on the anode, the impure copper metal is taken on the anode and then electric current is passed through the circuit. When the current is passed, the impure copper metal gets dissolved in this blue colored copper sulfate solution. So after the dissolvement of this copper, the pure copper gets collected towards the cathode and the impurities gets collected below the anode. So these impurities below the anode is known as the anode mud. So this is how we get the purest form of metal on the cathode. So this process is known as the electrorefining, as it has used to purify the impure metal into a pure metal. So now the next topic is electroplating. So it is the process of coating of one metal with the another metal by the process of electrolysis, as we have discussed earlier. So electroplating is done in various things like utensils, decorative pieces, jewelry pieces, and many more. So while doing electroplating, there are few important instructions which are to be followed. So the first is the metal or objects which needs to be coated should be taken as cathode. Second is the metal or objects which needs to be deposited should be taken as anode. And the third is the electrolyte must be of the salt of the same metal. So now the next we are going to discuss the electroplating of copper on silver metal. So here first you need to take a copper sulfate solution which acts as an electrolyte, and then you need to take a silver ball that will be coated by the copper plate. So that means both the silver ball and the copper plate are dipped into this blue color solution of copper sulfate, which is an electrolyte, and this silver cathode is connected to the negative terminal of the battery and the copper plate is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So now the positively charged copper ions from the copper plate moves to the silver cathode and form a deposit of copper over this silver ball. So this is how copper is electroplated on the silver metal ball. So now the next we are going to discuss, and the last topic to be discussed, is the applications of electroplating. So the first is the electroplating, as it is one of the most popular methods to prevent corrosion. Here one metal is electrodeposited on the another metal surface, which helps the prevention of the corrosion of the metals. So one popular method is also mentioned here, which is known as the tinning. So actually in tinning there is a metal called tin, and it is less reactive than iron. So this less reactive metal tin is coated on the iron materials so that it can prevent iron from corrosion. So this process is known as the tinning and it is mostly used. There is another process also known as chrome plating. So the name itself says plating of chromium metal of the steel parts on automobiles and motorcycles, which is an application of electroplating. So this method makes the iron and metal objects bright and appealing, as well as it protects them from corrosion. So now let me show you how chrome plating actually looks. So this is an example of chrome plating. Now the next application of electroplating is used for decoration like jewelry pieces, statues, cutlery items. The third application is in manufacturing of circuit boards, as electroplating is used in manufacture of small circuit boards which are used in televisions, computers and other appliances. And the last is some utensils are also electroplated to increase their thermal conductivity. So that's all about this chapter. So these are your diagrams that you need to draw and practice in your notebooks. And these are your in-between questions, learn and copy down in your notebooks. So stay home, stay safe and keep learning. Thank you.